listening to the nation's premier source on health, beauty, and wellness. Detroit Nation with Dr. D. Elayne Arterbery. Lifestyle Driven.
This is Dr. Elayne Arterbery from Detroit Nation Radio, where we are lifestyle driven. Detroit Nation Radio is a premier source for beauty, health, and wellness. We are committed to showcasing individuals that are driving the nation from Detroit that are committed to health, beauty, and wellness. I'm delighted today to have our guest, Laurie Underwood, fashion designer, contestant on Project Runway. Hi, Laurie. Hello? Laurie.
Hello.
Laurie. Hi, Laurie Underwood from Project Runway. Can you hear me?
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good.
I'm so glad you're calling in today and waking up so early to talk to us here in Detroit.
No problem. I'm used to it. I'm up early anyway.
Oh, I can imagine with your busy lifestyle. Laurie, tell me a little bit about yourself. I understand you did fashion design and illustration at Cass Tech. Go Cass. We have a lot of Cass Tech listeners out there.
Awesome. Always for Cass Tech. It's a little hard to hear you.
Okay, we'll fix that. Can you hear me now? Laurie, tell me a little bit about your design career. I understand you started at age 9. You knew that you wanted to design.
Can you say that again?
You knew early on that you wanted to be a designer.
Yes, I knew at 9 years old. So since then, I've just been creating my own path, believing in myself, and I'm actually here. And that's how I got to where I am, just staying on that path and trusting God to get me where I want to be, and that's how I became a designer.
How did things start for you in high school? Tell me about your experience at Cass Tech in high school.
Well, I did start my fashion experience at just 9 years old, just illustrating fashion designs. And then I went on to attend Cass Tech. I was excited to find out about their fashion design and illustration curriculum. So that was a major plus for me. My curriculum was full of art classes, art history, art this, art that, fashion illustration. So it was a great experience. It definitely prepared me for higher education.
Tell me about your design line, and then we're going to talk a lot about Project Runway. It's Wanda Grace. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, Wanda Grace is for the woman who has to work, but she loves to play. I have a ready-to-wear collection. Right now I have a collection of dresses, and I mainly design statement pieces for the woman who wants to stand out but fit in at the same time. She's effortless. She's fearless when it comes to her style, and I just want to continue to help her on that road to finding her style persona. So I design pieces that stand out. They're statement pieces, something that you can add to your wardrobe, and it'll enhance what you already have. And that can be found at wandagrace.com. So I've been designing since 2008. I started with $50, and from there it's just been growing. There's still more growth to get to, but right now I'm happy where I'm at, and I'm excited about where I'm headed with the line.
What do you think your biggest strength is as a designer? I mean, is it construction?
My biggest
strength. The thing you do best as a designer. Is it design? Is it construction? Is it?
I would have to say it is the design process. The design process can be very challenging but inspiring at the same time. I have to kind of get in my zone to be inspired to create pieces that I love, pieces that I dream about, and not only me, but pieces that other women love and dream about as well.
Right. I think when I looked at the design, it was the kind of thing where you saw it and you were like, I want that. It was kind of instantaneous, like this feeling of, I want, I can see.
That's exactly what I want to do. I want people to say, I want that. I have to have that. You know, the design industry is so saturated. There's lots of independent designers. There's lots of top designers, classic designers, and in order for me to design, I have to stand out. What makes me different? what makes someone want to buy a Wanda Grace dress as opposed to another dress. So it's all about just standing out and being unique, and that is my ultimate goal. Is just create a line that stands out and is unique to the customer.
Your use of color is so impressive, in this world where everybody wants to wear black and kind of blend in. How do you get inspired for colors? Is it nature? Is it going to shows? How do you get inspired to come up with a color palette for your design?
You know what? I'm not even inspired. I think it's within me because I come from Detroit, and I grew up around color. The Coogee sweaters, the Gators. Like, Detroit is known for color. You have the men with the colored suits, and I grew up in a Baptist church, so all I saw was color. And as a designer, I've tried to tone down my color stories just to kind of fit in with the trends, but I was like, you know what? I'm not going to try to fit in. I'm going to do me and do what I love to do, and I'm just going to be natural about it. So my natural state is to automatically flock to color. If I see a gorgeous color, I just go for it. I try not to stick with the blacks, the neutrals, and the taupes, but I love color, and that's what I gravitate towards.
If you could design, Laurie, one piece of clothing that says Detroit, what would that be?
That would have to be, I would have to do a white dress, a beautiful white fitted dress, not too tight, tight enough to say that she's a lady, but loose enough to also say she's a woman. So it would have to be a sheath dress, something that's white, because Detroiters love their white parties.
That's true.
So I would have to do a nice, clean white dress.
I understand that you quit your full-time job to pursue your passion. I want you to help our audience and listeners understand what that feels like. Was it scary? Was it challenging? Did you cry? Or has it been the most gratifying experience of your life?
You know what? My question to myself was, what's the point if I can't do what I love? You go to your job every day, but there's something inside of you that says you want to do what you love. This is just not what you love to do. And I've always said, one day I'm going to do design full time. But when that day actually came, I was always fearful to actually do it. But when that day actually came for me to make that decision, I felt like a weight was lifted off of me. And if it's something that you really, really love, like I love fashion design, I love style, if it's something you really love, then there's nothing you have to worry about once you say those two words, I'm done. Just following your passion is what we're here to do, and people don't understand that. We're not here to be unhappy. We're not here to go to these places every day where we're unhappy because we're not doing what we love. So what's the point if you can't do what you love? If you love your job, which I liked my job, but it just wasn't something that I love to do, and I know that I'm not here to focus solely on that. So it was a huge weight lifted off of me. Not saying it's going to be easy thereafter being a full-time designer, but it's what you make it, and you have to make it work.
We'll be right back with Laurie Underwood, native Detroiter and fashion designer and Project One Way top finalist. We'll be back in 1 minute.
Detroit Nation with Dr. V. Elayne Arterbery, driving the nation to health, beauty, and wellness.
Drivers of Change, showcasing to the world the innovators from Detroit, Michigan, and the nation that are shaping the country. Today's driver of change is Alexander McQueen, considered to be one of the top fashion designers of all time, with a relatively short-lived career that ended tragically with his suicide in early 2010. Today's driver of change, Alexander McQueen, represents the true innovation of fashion, style, theater. He was truly one of a kind, unique. He became the designer of Givenchy, but then left to create his own line because he felt that the ties of big business fashion were too limiting. And for that, he is today's driver of change. What do you think, Laurie, about Alexander McQueen? Was he truly the iconic personality and fashion person that people say?
I do believe that. I think he was an amazing designer, and I hate to say designer because for me that's not who he was. I feel like he was an artist. He was an innovator, a creator, and I think that he was everything everyone sought him out to be, and he was just amazingly talented. And I love that he pushed boundaries and he kind of just got out of the box. And that's the whole idea for design and, being an artist, being able to be fearless and get out of a box that people try to confine you to be in.
One of the things he's famous for quoting is that he said, "I think there's beauty in everything. What normal people would perceive as ugly, I can usually see something of beauty in it." Do you think that fashion, what fashion is so subjective? Some people think that dress is beautiful, some people think the dress is not. Do you think that's part of the paradox of fashion?
You know what? I think that for fashion is what's in and what's out, but style is what is beauty to you. Style is all about what you feel is beautiful, what you feel will work for you. So I definitely think fashion is an art form, and it is very subjective, but thank goodness we have style in which, we can tell which it's beautiful or not. I feel like fashion and style are two different things, and a lot of people get those two mixed up. Style is you. Style is what you believe is beautiful, while fashion is more of a trend, and it's an art, and it is very subjective.
Yeah. I want to spend some time talking about your experience on Project Runway. It was a long road for you to audition. How long did it take you to decide to do it?
Well, it was a long road, but it was pretty quick, if that makes sense.
Okay.
I was at my job. I was working away, and that's when the question came up, why am I here if I can't do what I love? So the next day, I got an email in my inbox about casting for Project Runway, and I applied. I had seen the email for 5 years, and I would just always put it in my trash box. Like, I'm not doing that. I'm not going on a reality show.
Oh, wow.
So
okay.
The next day, I just applied, and the day after that, I got a call asking me to audition, and I said, oh, my goodness, Laurie, what did you just do?
Oh, wow.
So after that, I auditioned, and I waited, and I got through. I was casted for season 14, and I had less than a month to get my life together because I couldn't just leave for the amount of period that I was supposed to leave and just have my life just sitting here. I literally had to get my life in order before I left.
When I looked at the show, it has this. It's almost like Survivor. I mean, it's a real boot camp, intense kind of. I didn't understand it until I really watched it. It's a lot of pressure to kind of design something in 12 or 24 hours. I mean, that's kind of like the abnormal thing for you, isn't it?
It is. I thought I was ready. I thought I was just going to be like pushing out designs. But when you're actually there, you're like, oh, no way. You're getting 3 hours of sleep, if that. You're eating lots of greasy foods. I had intentions on going there and eating healthy because that's how I eat. That's my lifestyle.
Right.
But it's New York. It's, get what you can get. And then designing off of just made-up inspirations, that was the challenge because I want to be inspired by inspiration, actual inspiration. So I think that was the challenge, not just for myself, but for all of us. It was the time to design was cut in half from previous seasons. So It was a huge challenge. It was like boot camp. It was like a survivor. I think most of the designers kept referring to it as Hunger Games.
Oh, wow, the Hunger
So
Games of fashion.
it was it was very, very interesting to see.
What did it feel like to be in front of some of these biggest names in fashion and sort of the entertainment industry? Heidi Klum, Garcia, Nina Garcia, Zach Posen. What did it feel like when you're standing there and they're on the other side deciding if you're going to stay or go?
You know, the first time on the runway, I was super nervous, like, oh my goodness. But once you go through the runway, you kind of, it's kind of like second nature being in front of them because you're in front of them all day, every day. It was very nerve-wracking. Nina was the one I was most nervous about, just due to her role on the show. But I love Nina, and I value her opinion about my designs. Heidi kind of took a page out of Nina's book this season, and Zach was very mad about my design. So it was always nerve-wracking. And I'll tell you, on my way to the runway, I would be having anxiety attacks backstage.
Wow.
Because that's how nervous I was, and producers would be on the side of me with water and a banana. That's how nervous I was.
Well, I saw Heidi
Every
get a
time.
little Heidi was a little testy with you.
She was.
She was a little testy. She
Such
came
a
out of her
beautiful
shell.
Person. Like,
Oh,
in
yeah.
person, she's so beautiful. And I just think that was just a part of the show, just really just adding more. It was hard for, I don't know, I felt like it was hard for them to really connect with me and for me to connect with them as a designer. And I think that was due to lack of inspiration that I had on the show.
Well, I thought that it was, in some ways, what I saw on the show is because I think it was so hard over the weeks. I really saw like your confidence grow. Like each week I don't know, it was like you were more comfortable, even though they were grilling you and a little testy, Does it do that for you, sort of?
It's like a game, and I knew the game. I knew I didn't play it effectively. I don't think I did, and I'm not afraid to say that. I didn't play effectively, but I knew the game. I knew, when you're there, you know the top runners before you go on stage because you kind of get to know personalities, and reality television is about personalities. So I knew the game, and I just got comfortable, and it was just like, oh, here's another day. So,
Well,
but it was exciting. I enjoyed it. The most important, enjoyable part for me was just being around all of the designers, just making new friends, and just being in an environment where I wasn't used to.
has it opened up any doors? I mean, look, you say that you didn't play the game, but you were top 10, okay? So that's amazing there. So has it opened up any doors for your line or for your fashion business?
It actually has. My objective in going on Project Runway was to bring awareness to my brand, and that's exactly what it did. It definitely has opened up doors for me, and I think all of us, it's opened up doors, and I feel like all of the designers on Project Runway, we all win, regardless on who goes to Fashion Week, who's the top 4. I feel like we all win. We all had wins, no loses. So it's definitely opened up doors for myself. I've used it as a platform to voice what is important to me, which is style, beauty, and inspiration, empowering women through style. And that's my platform. That's what I'm using. And it's definitely opened up doors for me, and I'm really excited about that and very grateful for the opportunity.
For some women, style, and we've talked about this, is so important for who they are. It projects how they feel about themselves. You can almost look at a woman sometimes, depending on what she has on and how she's projecting herself, and get a sense of how she's feeling about themselves. So what are some of your rules about how women can develop their own style and to command that style, even if they're having a bad day? What are some rules people need to follow?
You know what? My biggest rule is dress for the part you want in life. Whatever part you want in life, you need to dress the part. your style presentation is a gift to the world. It's when you introduce yourself to someone, you want them to be able to see your gift packaging, but which is your style. And not only your packaging needs to be great, but your inside of your gift needs to be great, which is your confidence level. So your confidence level has to meet up with your style persona. Those two go hand in hand. You can have on a perfectly beautiful dress, but if your inside does not meet up with that beautiful dress, then what's the point? So I'm definitely about empowering women through style, and I feel that we should dress for the parts we want in life. It's like a stage, you know. If you want to be that great entrepreneur, if you want to be that great boss, you need to dress like that, you know, dress for the part that you want in life. And that's my biggest rule when it comes to style.
If you could find a celebrity or personality, who do you that needs a makeover? Who do you
Oh
think
my God,
needs
don't do that to me.
the biggest makeover? And I have some ideas, but I want to see who you think. Who needs a makeover?
Oh, you know, I don't. Wow, that's really, really not good.
Okay, that might not be fair.
I don't think anyone would need a makeover.
An update.
But as far as me dressing someone, if I could dress someone just to enhance what they already have going on, I would have to say, oh my gosh, why are you doing this to me?
Well, when we had Kevin Hall on the show, he said Jennifer Lopez. Okay? Kevin
Jennifer
Hall.
Lopez.
He said Jennifer Lopez. So that gives you a hint. There's some people out there that need a little work.
You know, I would have. No, I can't do that. I would have to say Jennifer Hudson.
Yeah.
I don't think she needs a makeover, but I would love to dress her to enhance what she has going on because she is so beautiful. She looks amazing. And if I can get her in one of my chic dresses, oh my goodness, amazing.
That is so interesting. What is your biggest fear, Laurie? I mean, a lot of people have fear of failure, fear of success. Do you have any fears as you move forward with your fashion career and your independent line?
No, I don't have any fears. Right now, I have a restraining order on fear. Fear is like an ex-boyfriend. Every time you try to move forward and do something new, do something exciting with your life, start a new project, you always have fear lurking around the corner, you know, trying to come back to your life. So I have a restraining order on fear right now. So right now, I don't have any fears.
All right. We're going to take a quick break. This is Dr. Arterbery from Detroit Nation Radio. We'll be back with Laurie Underwood, finalist on Project One Way, Season 14.
Detroit Nation with Dr. V. Elayne Arterbery, driving the nation with health, beauty, and wellness.
This is Dr. Elayne Arterbery. We're back with Laurie Underwood, native from Detroit, or Go Cast Tech, who is an inspiring fashion designer. She's been on Project Runway as a finalist and has her own line of clothing, Wanda Grace. I'm so impressed with your attitude. It's so refreshing to hear someone in the fashion industry to talk not just about beauty on the outside, but how women have to be powerful on the inside. I think it's great. Before we close the show, I want you to tell people how to get in touch with you if they're interested in learning more about your designs or acquiring your designs.
Yes, if you just go to wandagrace.com, that's WANDAGRACE.com. I use that as my platform for inspiration for style, beauty, and lifestyle. So everything I'm all about is on wandagrace.com.
Oh, that's great. Is there anything else that you'd like to tell our listening audience? One thing I want to ask you is, do you have a favorite quote?
Do I have a favorite
quote that you live by?
Oh, I do. That would have to be my quote for my clothing line. Actually, I have two. The first one is, be a lady, cross your legs, be sociable, create goals, and wear Wanda Grace. That's my tagline for Wanda Grace. And my all-time favorite quote is to believe in your damn self. I live by that. Believe in yourself, and anything is possible.
It sounds like, Laurie, you had some people in your life who really helped push you. Is that what they told you?
Absolutely. My mother and my grandmother, my aunts, my uncles were all a very close-knit family. My sisters, my father, they always told me to walk with my head up but never away, and I kept that with me along my path, and I continue to keep that with me and send that to my daughter. So that was definitely a huge influence for me, my family.
So I wanted to ask you one more thing. If you could say something inspirational to other fashion designers, other people out there, what would you tell them?
I would just tell them whatever they want to do. I know it's the easiest thing to say, but truthfully, it's the hardest thing to do, and that is just believing in yourself. A lot of times we set out to do these things, and we're excited, but the bottom line is, do you believe in yourself to actually make this come to life? Do you have an actual plan for it? So my overall advice is to really, truly believe in yourself.
One of the things that's getting really interesting here in Detroit is that there's going to be like a garment district, like a fashion incubator and a district. Are you going to be part of that at all?
Oh.
Hello?
Hello?
Are you? Oh, I'm sorry. We must have had a bad connection. Are you going to be part of the fashion movement here in Detroit?
I am really trying to be a part of that movement. I feel like being a product of Detroit, that's very important for me. Although I live in Chicago, I'm only 5 hours away, but I am a product of that city, and I'm just sitting on the shelves in Chicago. So I'm definitely excited about it, and I am definitely going to be a part of it.
Oh, I think it's great. Yeah, apparently it's going to be an incubator, probably for designers that are really just truly at the beginning of their career, as well as an actual district, like an area where people are going to be allowed to have warehousing, platform, manufacturing, etc. So it's really an exciting time in Detroit. Is there anything else you want to tell our listening audience?
I do want to kind of like do a little promotion. After I came off of Project Runway, I started, going full blown with my business. But I also took my daughter and I started a doll collection with her. She founded her own doll collection, which is shadesofmedoll.com.
Oh.
So it's a doll that comes in many different shades, and it's empowerment through play. So I'm creating a blueprint for my daughter as I'm on my path. It just can't be about me. It has to be about, just raising her up and just raising inspiration for others to see, that they can do it as well.
Oh, I think that's wonderful. I want to thank you for being on the show today. What an inspiration.
Thank you for having me. I truly appreciate you, and I appreciate both your listeners as well.
Your line is absolutely beautiful, and I encourage people to get inspired and actually wear the fashion. It's really gorgeous. It's for all shapes and sizes. And I was motivated to get a dress for a party that's upcoming. So I want to thank you, Laurie, for being here, and congratulations on your success in your career, as well as surviving the Hunger Games of Fashion,
so
Project Runway, Season 14. This is Dr. Elayne Arterbery for Detroit Nation, bringing you a premier source of health, beauty, and wellness from Detroit. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at 313 Nation Radio. And as always, achieve your personal best, then beat it. See you next week.
Detroit Nation with Dr. V. Elayne Arterbery, driving the nation to health, beauty, and wellness. Lifestyle driven.